It's an eye-opener and it's titled Beyond Borders, Managing Payment, Currency and Logistics for Pan-African Growth. All right, and this conversation will focus on supply chain realities, receiving regional payments, managing global shipping, logistics and distribution strategies across Africa. I know it's fantastic that some of you are, operating locally, but for some of you want to, go beyond the borders. And this session is going to help you. And so I hope you have your notepads. I hope you're ready to learn with your questions. But I think if there's an empty seat in front of you, please fill it up. Please fill it up. Thank you very much. I'm going to call up our first speaker on this panel. She's Omolade Oshinubi, a visionary fashion entrepreneur and the CEO of Lekki Garment Factory, which she co-founded to deliver seamless, sustainable production services to designers. With a master's degree from the International Fashion Academy in Paris, Omolade blends creative expertise with strategic business acumen. And after returning to Nigeria, she launched Lekki Garment Factory. She launched the Lekki Garment Factory and Lekki Fashion and African Fashion Warehouse to connect African artisans with global markets, celebrating the craftsmanship and heritage of African fashion. Recognized by Leading Lady Africa as one of the 100 most inspiring women of 2024, Omolade is deeply committed to excellence, consistent growth, and sustainability. She actively mentors emerging designers, the next generation of African fashion talent, and continuously empowering and giving back to her community. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're not tired. I'd like you to warmly welcome her upstage. Omolade Oshinubi, visionary fashion entrepreneur and CEO of Lekki Garment Factory. Thank you so much for coming, ma'am. I'm so excited about this session. I cannot wait to glean from them. Our second speaker is Vovwe Enyonyi, a product leader passionate about building inclusive financial technology and simplifying complex systems for real-world impact. As head of product for the SME and digital bank divisions at Transact International PLC, he drives innovation across financial services for governments, banks, and millions of everyday users. Previously, he served as technical product manager for AI and integration at Respond.io, one of Asia's fastest growing startups. Vovwe is also a course author on Pluralsight, where he teaches product thinking and digital innovation to a global audience. With a track record of launching transformative tools like Credo, a payment solution for small businesses, Vovwe speaks from deep, hands-on experience. He brings clarity, empathy, and vision to every conversation, helping audiences understand how technology can unlock real value for underserved communities. Ladies and gentlemen, come on, put your hands together for Vovwe Enyonyi. He's going to also join this panel session. Thank you so much. All right, to moderate this session is Patricia Ojora, a lawyer and an entrepreneur from the University of London, Queen Mary College, where she got her honorary degree and her BL honorary from the Nigerian Law School. She's a veteran scholar of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women Program at the Lagos Business School, Nigeria. After a stint in a law firm, she followed her passion and established a manufacturing and printing company, Promo Print Ventures Limited, in 2006, a one-stop shop factory and printing organization. An entrepreneur who constantly uses technology to enhance and simplify its operations. She's a pioneer in the field of printing to achieve higher and more consistent production levels, etc. In addition to her manufacturing and printing organization, Patricia also runs ED International Hospital, a 50-year-old hospital, come on, put your hands together, based in Benin City, Edo State. Not limited to the manufacturing and printing industry, Patricia ensures she fulfills her social responsibilities by offering internships to the youth in her communities of influence. She's a founding member of the Livestream charity, which supports the local youth with various internships and training programs in order for them to learn new skills and become empowered financially. Patricia is blessed with 3 children and enjoys traveling, reading, and solving puzzles. Ladies and gentlemen, come on, let's give a warm LLF welcome to our moderator, Patricia Ojora. You are welcome. And I'm handing over the mic to our able moderator. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Ronke. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Sorry for being late, but it was, this is Nigeria, things happen. But the skill that we have is that when things happen, you try and make it work. And that's what we've tried to do. So, Ronke, thank you very much. So, Omolade and Vovwe. So he's pronounced Vovwe, not Vovwe, right? So, my name is Patricia Ojora, and I'm here as a lowly printer. I am running a hospital that I have no business running because I'm not a doctor, but structure is structure. And it is so interesting that we can be able to, and I'm also opening a new business at this old age of 57. So the point I'm trying to tell you is that nothing is new and we can continue going. So I'm happy with my 2 speakers here. You know why? Because they both come back. They didn't jackpot totally. They went, they worked, they learned the skills, and they've come back to Nigeria to enrich it. So thank you so much, Omolade. Thank you so much, Vovwe. That's really amazing.
Pleasure.
So our discussion for today, of course, is Beyond Borders, Managing Payment, Currency, and Logistics for Pan-African Growth. Oh.
Okay. All right, we've got one more speaker to join us. And I'd like to bring forward Camille Chude, designer liaison at Ananse, who works closely with African fashion brands, helping them grow by connecting them to global markets through Ananse's e-commerce platform, ananse.com. Camille supports designers through onboarding, content creation, photo shoots, and brand visibility, ensuring they're positioned to scale both locally and internationally. Come on, everybody, let's welcome Camille Chude.
Thank you, everyone.
Welcome. We're just starting, so you're okay. Okay, so managing payment, currency, and logistics for Pan-African growth. As we all know, I don't know how many people here are entrepreneurs. Can we have a show of hands? We produce things. We work in Nigeria. And the Nigerian market is huge, but guess what? The African market is ginormous, right? And we're trying to sell our things. We're very vibrant and amazing people in Nigeria. We're trying to make our things and actually export them. And we find problems in getting our products, even our products, more than services, but our products out of Nigeria and even to Cotonou, to Togo, or even further afield. And we have equal problems in paying for them. So we have heard about all these schemes. We've heard about AfCFTA and the PAPSS, which is supposed to be Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. But yet we hear of these names and these acronyms, but what are we actually doing to make sure that we can actually pay? If I want to buy something in Ghana, why do I need to have my friend in Ghana pay for me? I think EcoBank has tried its best to do. I think it's probably the most proactive of the banks. Unfortunately, one of our sponsors, Wema Bank, is supposed to be here to talk on their platform, but since they're not here, I can mention EcoBank very happily. So what are the problems that we are having? What are the things that you encounter, and how can we solve them? So my first question would be to Omolade. You came back, you sorted out operationally a garment factory where you can make things of international standards, and you want to send your things to across Africa. What are the problems that you encounter?
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I am super excited to be here. I'm going to try as much as possible to be very real with you, so I'm not going to be speaking a lot of jargons and big words. So I'm going to speak from my heart, from what I have learned in the past over 10 years. So, in response to a question, and before I go on, let me let you know, I just, traveled back into Lagos, not from outside the country. I actually buried my dad yesterday. And I had said yes, that I was going to come for this event before it happened 2 weeks ago. Then I was really tempted to cancel it. But I knew that I had given my word. So as soon as we finished yesterday, I just waited for this morning to bid my mom farewell, and I started rushing back. So if I'm feeling too calm or quiet, don't bother. Just blame it on what just happened. And if you see my, excited self as well, that means I'm back. Okay? So I said that to let you know that as entrepreneurs, keep on showing up. No excuses. It doesn't matter what had happened. If you have given your word, if this is what you have chosen to do, then go all length to do it. If I didn't mention that, you would never know. And there are some places that those excuses do not even matter. You can't say, oh, I'm late because my children were crying, or I had to, or there was traffic. It doesn't work. Okay. So, thank you once again. So, the challenges we have faced in Lekki Garment Factory and African Fashion Warehouse has been a lot, or they have actually been a lot. And one of it is ability to be able to get payment in easily. And the one I could remember, so we do businesses across Africa and outside Africa. And I know that's the one that you are most interested in, but today we are talking about Africa. So one of the challenges have been that people do not, number one, when they hear about Naira, Nigerian Naira, they are not interested. So you have to bring in dollars. So people prefer that if you want to buy something or do anything, you pay them in dollars. Then also you have to change money, because like this year we went to Ghana for an exhibition, and as soon as we got there we had to change before we could even do anything. Then by the time we were showcasing, we had people coming in and they couldn't really quickly buy, so we had to borrow somebody else's account to be able to get paid. So I actually sold quite a number of things, and even got like a store who actually carried our products, but I didn't get paid that moment. They had to send in the money later on. So not being able to pay, when the payment system is not direct, it's not straightforward, it's cumbersome, it's so worrisome. Then also logistics, moving things. If I have to send things to Ghana, sometimes product that I've sent into to London would have gotten there. Things that we have sent into the US have gotten there. So now, like we send things to the US, within 3 to 5 days, it gets to the person's doorstep. But in Africa, you still have to go through a lot of things, customs, you'll be checked. So it's been a very discouraging process, but there is hope. We'll get to that point, I'm sure. So those are the two major things. Customs, there's no regional distribution center. That is, there's no place that I can easily say, okay, maybe we move these things in, then when it is needed, they pick it up from there and get it to the client. So it's kind of difficult. Then payments system is not straightforward. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did, Omolade. Thank you very much. And picking up on what you said, if you were to charge in dollars, our government tells us that you are actually not supposed to charge in dollars within Nigeria. And I think the real estate people have been having problems with that because they're saying that it's against the law, but then you're not giving us opportunities to be able to charge to people to collect Naira because our money is falling. So, Vovwe, let me just throw this one to you. Why does intra-African payments remain so fragmented after all the effort and the time and the money that has been put into it? Because so many different companies have come in, and as we talked before, something like Lemfi and Co, money comes in, but it's easy for money to come in, but it's not easy for money to go out. So it's sort of like a dual question. And then I will also ask Camille, because she also has some experience in this angle. Why is it still so fragmented after all the efforts, and what can we do to make it better?
Okay, hi everyone. So, first is the problem of infrastructure. Because the market, or most people that want, like I was discussing with you, want African products, are not necessarily in other African countries, right? So let's say, for example, you have more people that have demand for Nigeria-made goods in other continents and not necessarily in the African continent as much. So because demand is higher to those countries, solutions have come up to solve those problems, technically. But when it comes to within the African space, there's not a lot of demand, so you're not seeing a lot of that collaboration happening. And the infrastructure across the different countries is problematic. For example, if you want to send money to Ghana, right now, except you are going through this PAPSS system, who is still very limited, that money has to first go to the New York or London, and then goes to Ghana, which makes no sense because Ghana is literally right there. But that does not really change anything. But that's actually what happens now because there's no infrastructure to move money across the continent, unlike other continents that exist, right? And so that's where the problem is. And when you now couple that with the fees that I have to pay to move that money, it keeps increasing because I, as a gateway, I want to make money. The bank that is serving me wants to make money. The switch that is moving the money also wants to make money. So all of those costs are passed eventually to the customer and nobody makes any money. So that's what the problem is. And because the business is maybe the second to the last mile person, they have to have the lower margins or else the customer does not know that the reason why is this costly is because of the bank and the switch. You can't tell them that they're not going to listen to you. And so that's where the problem is. There's no good infrastructure. The currencies across African countries are not very good compared to other continents. So there's also inflation that also causes the lack of need for our currency, which is why you see Nigerians, like you're saying, charging in foreign currency, which does not make any. But it happens because we also don't want to lose at the same time. But the truth is, the more we do that, the more we actually lose as a country.
Because you're not growing yourself.
You're not growing the country, you're not growing your business. You're making money in the short term, but long term, you can't do as much. The last part of your question, I think I forgot it. I can't remember. But that's what the challenge really is currently with payments across different African countries. It's just the currency conversion, the currency valuation, the bad infrastructure across the different countries, and lack of collaboration. It just doesn't exist. So until that happens, to be better, the last thing I'll say is information. The truth is, a lot of businesses want to make progress, but because of maybe the amount of time the operations of the business takes, there's not a lot of thought put into research, into tools that can make it better. So there are actually payment solutions that can facilitate some payments, right? Even if they are niche. But because you're trying to move as quickly as you can move, you're not really doing a lot of research to check those things. And I think one of the greatest things that businesses need is information. If you really just know who the players are, even if they're not really well known, it's a lot easier for most businesses.
I just want to add something. As Nigerians also, we also have stigma, sadly, against us, in that when we try and make platform payments across some certain platforms, you are stopped, or they ask for additional information. That makes your systems very slow. I remember in those days of PayPal, which is, people are still using it. But how many times has my personal account been blocked because they're asking for additional information? So we have so many things. We have nothing that is working, nothing helping us here, and over there, they're stigmatizing us. Yeah. So these are the reasons why Africans, and especially Nigerians, have to come up with our own platforms solutions that work for us. So Camille, the same question to you about what you feel is causing the fragmentation. We have ECOWAS, we have African Union, but they don't seem to be working. They don't seem to be joining us together, as opposed to something like the EU, the European Union, that works for all the countries across Europe. So what is your view on all of this?
Thank you. So for me, I would like to say that it's mostly a lack of information, because a lot of times some of these organizations that you have mentioned have made these payment solutions available, but they haven't passed it across to the actual small business owner. Nobody actually knows how to access some of these platforms that have been made available, quote and unquote. So we know that these things are there, but only a few people have access to them because maybe only a few people are enlightened, or only a few people have these connections, or I know somebody that works in this bank, or I know somebody that works here, so my business is guaranteed because they're going to help me out. And sadly, a lot of business owners in Nigeria are not exactly tech savvy. So even when these platforms are available, they have to go through a third party. And sometimes some of these third party companies or apps are scams. So you end up being defrauded, and Nigerians are very wary of things that they don't understand. So if I don't trust you, it's very hard for me to put my money or to put my hope on you. So I'd rather just, trade around with my neighbors, the people that I can see for myself, rather than trying to understand something which, of course, the information is not even readily available. So yes, I think information is our biggest challenge. Information distribution, I would say, is our biggest challenge as African, Nigerian entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So digital wallets and fintech solutions, are they just a band-aid? Are they just like a repair solution, or are they actually working to stop this cross-border problem?
They actually work. Right? If you think
Please
about...
give exact examples
Exact
so that we can all learn.
Let's give one.
Okay.
MTN's Momo wallet, for example.
Momo wallet.
Mobile money for MTN.
Are you right?
They are in different African countries. There's Ghana, they are in Kenya, and the rest. EcoBank also has some very good Pan-African expansion. Companies like Florida Wave, even if they're my competitor, they also have those connections to facilitate payments in those countries.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have gone ahead to partner with some of those countries' central banks to now allow people there to make payments to Nigerian merchants. But there's one thing that I don't think they've all done perfectly is, from Nigerian standpoint, it has to be a Nigerian business. They are facilitating the ability for Nigerian businesses to collect money from outside, but not necessarily facilitating the ability for businesses in those countries to pay us.
Yes.
So they have to depend on those countries' own citizens to be innovative enough to create their own solutions to enable them to connect to us. That's another part that has to happen. So we can play our part to enable the facilitation of payments, but that also has to happen. Other players that exist, and I've already mentioned MTN, but when you think about those wallets, for them to work perfectly, they're not necessarily working as multi-currency wallets. Maybe how many people here have used Wise? Has anybody used Wise before?
Use Wise?
So some people may know it, or some other ones like Lemfi, Gray. They are multi-currency wallets. You can have USD, Euro, and what's the other one? Pounds in the same account, and just give them different account numbers. But you don't have multi-currency African wallets. You don't have that. You only have, this app is for CD. This one is for Rwanda. And you have those different ones. Even the MTN Momo is the same thing. They probably have a Ghana app, they have a Nigerian one, and things like that. So there's still that fragmentation exists. But the truth is, digital wallets is the future of payments.
Yes.
It is very obvious. Like if you see the M-Pesa's growth in Kenya, for example, how more people in Kenya use digital wallets than cash. So that has grown there, but there's no expansion to other African countries, right? So you have that wallet growing, Apple Pay, Google Pay, the rest of them is growing exponentially. But now the question will now be, how do we now connect all of us together to actually facilitate trading, not just regular transfers? Because if you can create that system, maybe that will create the demand for the African product. I still personally think though, that Africans need to demand for African products. I don't know how to say that in a different way.
Well, that's why we're here at the Leather Fair.
Because you can see that maybe someone in the US, like we were discussing earlier, would buy all Nigerian products, but you will not see somebody in South Africa buying Nigerian products. They would rather buy from the US because we're all working with the same mindset. If it's not Italian, it's not the best. And that is not good because, I mean, there's one event that happened recently in one state. I think it's called Ile. I can't remember the name, but people dress up and they wear fine clothes and they Leoba or something like that. Or I don't know the name. I'm so sorry. But if you see the display of creativity there, right? Within Africa, why don't we want that for ourselves? We'd rather wear suit and tie.
But I think that one thing I will say, the last 10 years, let's say, the joy of Nigeria, Africa, and especially Nigeria is amazing. From our food, where everybody wants our food, to our clothing, to our music, to our products. So that's why Leather Fair can be in its 8th year, because I'm telling you, all of you carrying handbags from any designer, if you trace the leather back, that leather came from Kano. You know, we have the best products in Nigeria. Nigeria is the land of milk and honey, I tell you. But everything, because we don't process, it gets taken out. But that's my personal rant. Don't let me go there. I want to talk to Omolade now about in the supply chain. He's talked now about, there's a fly following me. See, my village people are here already. Omolade, in the supply chain, you cannot get all your products here in Nigeria, that's clear. All of us, we know the struggles in getting things that we need from across the world. How are you able to source within, to try and get better quality products there, to also reduce your FX exposure and to give yourself less stress in the marketplace and operationally?
Thank you so much. This is so important. And just like she mentioned earlier, that if you are carrying a bag with good leather, if you trace the source, you will trace it back to Nigeria. But the information is not out there. So for supply chain, to be able to have what you need, we have to be able to work together and share information. So while, the way I grew up, you have to, most times you want to grow, you do things in silos, you just want to grow, you're focusing on yourself. But whereas, expanding your knowledge and carrying other people along will actually help you to, perform better and to be able to have wider reach. So, and I'm going to use this example. So we have a particular client from the US, and he gets his accessories and accessories now from China and from Germany and from the US. Then it will be shipped to Nigeria for us to make it. So when he first started, anytime I will go to clear for him and he gets to the customs duty, we'll be paying 5 million, 3.5, maybe the littlest thing that maybe may not even be as heavy as my phone. They would just charge him 550. And I was really worried for him. And I was worried that this might actually discourage someone from even wanting to do a business in Nigeria or even around the country. Then with time, Nigeria, now I'm sure we all know that Nigeria is trending.
Yes.
Everybody wants to do business with you. And everybody is trying to do business with us, but we are still fixated on trying to do business with a world that is passing away. Let me use that word. So while you are focusing on getting them from the US, from Germany, then through the back door, they are sealing the deals and closing the doors, setting up, businesses in Nigeria, setting up the payment gateways, just doing things that will bring them money into their countries. I don't know if this is clear to you. So what I want to say is that you can do business internationally, like I love it, we do that a lot, but doing businesses within African countries or with other African countries should be one of your plans. And one of the ways to do this is to actually find out We have to do, there's a department in my company that is called Research and Development. So what you do is you begin to ask questions. Go to the markets, ask them questions. There was a day I was watching YouTube because I was in China early this year. And I saw these Chinese people, they will go to those Isaleiko. Do you know Isaleiko? All this. They go there and they're asking them questions and they're bringing in thousands and thousands of products. And these women, these men that they don't dress like you do, are actually controlling the money. So what I'm saying is that, so now what we have done with our clients is we've been able to find companies in Nigeria who are producing what they are looking for. So the first time, one of the things we did something that is, we were able to get grage fabric. Grage fabric is a kind of fabric that has not been dyed or treated. So the first time we approached a company in Lagos to do that for us, they said, no, they can't. But because we have made a research that it is possible, so I had to go there, convince them like 3 times that they should sell it to us. Eventually they did, although we struggled with it, but we were able to produce something fantastic with it. So now we have been able to cancel these are clients from trying to ship in from different parts of the world. We actually noticed that we can actually get it from here. So we have different people, so we make research, then we talk to them and say, can you produce this? We can buy it from you. So we get the button. So if you want a particular thing, we actually go and create another alternative for them. So to answer your question in summary, is that what we've been able to do is to be able to make research and look, just like both of them mentioned, that is information. There are people who are actually doing these things that you need or that your clients will need. It's just finding them out, then finding a way to convince them or support them, collaborate with them to actually be able to produce it in large quantity that you may need, or to be able to scale up their quality to what you are actually looking for.
Thank you for mentioning that, because one of the things that is quite obvious is that the informal sector is actually doing better than we that are trying to do it the correct way. And that's sad, because you are saying that we want us as Nigerians to do things the proper way, to pay our taxes, to follow certain strategies. But I can tell you that I know somebody that can get any product from Burkina Faso to Mali to Nigeria to Ghana. But do we want that, where every time your heart is beating because you're not sure if your product is actually going to make it or not? I don't think that that's the wise way to go. So I think, of course, we have to lobby government. We have to really, really focus on this, because I spoke to also strategy. We also have to always educate ourselves, like things like this. A strategy with a big airline here. And one of the things they said is that they're not interested in doing London, New York. They want to be able to service Nigeria to different African countries. And I remember saying to them that, yes, definitely, if you were able to do that, if I know that I can go to Senegal easily without paying, do you know how much it is to go to Senegal? It's unbelievable. It's more expensive than going to London, I think. And you wonder why, because we can all benefit from each other. So the strategy that we're talking about now, what kind of strategy would you recommend, Camille, for Pan-African growth, where between ourselves, we cannot continue facing the Western world. Between ourselves, everybody says, focus on Africa. Africa is great, it's the next big thing. In fact, we are already the big thing, right? But what can we do to strategize to make us be able to interweave properly?
All right, thank you for that question. I believe that in Africa, what we lack basically is the spirit of collaboration. So we all have the same problems. We all know that these things need to be solved. But at the end of the day, we wait on the government who have other priorities. Now, if business owners can come together, form groups, or even young entrepreneurs who have the same goal or who are interested in the same line of business, come together and say, how do we solve this problem? Okay, I know this person in South Africa, I know this person in Senegal. We can come together, we can put together a proposal and send it to whichever body is in charge of this, get it approved, and we get something going. But currently in Africa, everyone wants to stand alone. Everyone wants to be the CEO of their own company. And without collaboration, unfortunately, we won't go very far because the resources are limited. But if we pull ourselves together, we should be able to apply to certain grants, make a case for certain policies to be put in place. For me, the biggest thing is collaboration. We need to collaborate across board.
Okay, that sounds good, yeah. It's about the push, but how to do the push is what we really, really know. So now, people like intra-African that are doing things like pocket money, let me do research for you. How many people here have heard of pocket money? Okay, you have some people here. So pocket money, he can tell us a bit about that, but I want to know, how can this pocket money, which is now only within Nigeria, be stretched to other countries? Because even if you start with just Ghana, Benin Republic, Togo, that helps all of us, right? And then you stretch, even if you have a concept of 2 or 3 countries a year to add on, how can, that would be great, wouldn't it? And it would be first mover advantage. I'll charge you later.
That would be great. Just before I answer, I want to just add something to what Camille said. In addition to what she said about collaboration, I also want to add that everything rises and falls on leadership.
On leadership?
Leadership.
Okay.
Until, if you look at any great movement that has happened on this planet, somebody had to start. It's just the way it works. So, like she said, somebody actually has to just say, okay, you know what, let's just even do this thing. And collaborate with other countries. And this mostly falls on the government. We can do our best as private people to start the process, but the government needs to be involved. They need to start it and drive that conversation. Because how EU became what it is today was by those conversations, right? Even the ECOWAS, and what they're not doing as much as I wanted them to do, how they became where they are today is by those conversations that also happened. For us at eTransact, pocket money, what we're trying to solve was, in one line, to turn customers into communities. How can I take one person and turn them into a community of 10, 20,000 people that are adding value to them? We saw that across the country, there is lower purchasing power. But how do we increase purchasing power without giving out credit? I mean, credit is a fantastic thing to do. Everybody needs credit at some point in time. But we were thinking about how do we achieve that goal. So what we have in the roadmap of pocket money within the next few years is to see how we can collaborate with other fintechs and create those possibilities there so that we're able to facilitate not just transactions or value exchange between individuals, but even within communities. So imagine if you have a community of, right now we are talking about, this is Lagos Leather Fair, right? We have a community of the merchants or businesses that handle leather works in the country. And then you have another one in maybe Ghana. And then you guys you want to buy a particular raw material. If I buy it alone, I spend more. If 20 of us buy it, we spend less. But now, that does not exist yet. Can we create that kind of collaboration and trust within our financial ecosystem that we can all put our money in one place and buy this thing, and we are sure that even if the money might enter like 500 million, we are all going to get it at a cheaper rate than it would have been if I was buying that 1 million for only myself and that person is doing all the work. So that's how we are thinking about it. The product has just recently launched like a few weeks ago, but the expansion is across that mindset that every customer we meet, can we turn you into a community so that you can also benefit from other people? Because like we're saying, the problem is information. A lot of people don't know that solution exists. I was in where we worked together on the EDC project for AI SME. And in all those different SME focus groups, you could see that there was just a lack of, I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know this was possible. Because everyone is trying to make money as quickly as they can. Let's just move forward day by day. Nobody's thinking, okay, how else can I collect payment that I can relieve myself of this stress? How else can I do logistics that can relieve myself of this stress? There are companies like Topship that they're pretty expensive, but they ship to almost every African country. And you can track the shipments online, right? But not everybody knows about them.
Is this a Nigerian company?
The Nigerian company is called Topship. I use them I worked with a brand that I integrated it to our business. So the moment somebody pays, they get a notification, they go to our house in 3 days, or her warehouse, pick up the product, take it to the country. She doesn't have to do anything. She just has to be ready at the time when it's supposed to be ready. But now not everybody knows about this possibility that exists because, like Camille said, some of these SMEs, they are not in the space where they know that this is possible or have the right tools. So which is why we have to make it a community-based direction, because if you have that, there might just be someone in that community that just knows that, okay, I have this solution. We can all use it together because I know it will solve all our problems. But if we don't create an atmosphere that allows us to solve that, it won't happen. And that's what Pokemon is trying to achieve. That's what e-transact by Pokemon is trying to achieve. So, yeah, all of you should download it.
Well, at least you've learned some things already. Payment platforms that work currently, because I always believe in solutions.
Yeah.
We can't talk about things and not leave here without something to add on. So from Momo to EcoBank to Flutterwave to Topship. I have not even heard of this. Have you heard of Topship? You see? So what we're talking about is this lack of information. Why must it always that I have to know somebody before that person will tell me the inner things? And we are not people that collaborate well. No. We don't, one of the problems I have had with my business is that I am everybody's little secret. You know how you have a tailor that is good and you don't tell anybody because too many people will go. That's exactly what happens. And we limit ourselves. So that's the one thing that I would like to say from my own personal journey as an entrepreneur, 25 years, is that together we are stronger. Together we have more money power, we have more bargaining power, and we can force things to happen, especially in the government space that we're trying to get to. So if there's one thing, before we go to questions and answers, if there's one thing that you would do, if you had the power, for each of you, please, to change this space so that it would work. Can you come up with that?
Wow. I was just thinking about vision, and that is what she's asking of. One thing, I'll do 3 things. Can I say that? Number one,
do we allow her 3 things?
Is that?
I said, do we allow her to do the 3 things?
I'll do one. I'll talk about one.
Don't worry. Do 3.
Okay. So one thing that I would do is to create an ecosystem for all manufacturers in Nigeria in the fashion space that allows them to be able to have access to information, resources, even clientele, that allow everyone to be able to get trained, so that it's, an ecosystem that brings everyone together so that anyone in any part of the world or in any part of Africa that is looking for a particular manufacturer of an accessory can always come into that ecosystem and find it. So I feel this answers even to what they've been talking about, as information. So now at the moment, we do not presently have like a system or a platform where anyone can come in and find everyone. So if I have the opportunity, this is one of the things I have in my mind, to be able to create a working, effective platform for every manufacturer of accessory and fashion products in Africa. Then, secondly, I would like to talk about vision. When we're talking about collaboration, I have heard this word over and over again, and yet we find it difficult, to achieve. And I think what is causing this is lack of vision. So most times, we want to deal with our clients or we want to make quick money, and we forget that what we are doing goes beyond us. So now in my company, Lekki Garment Factory or African Fashion Warehouse, it's not about me. It's actually about Nigeria and it's about Africa. So when I understand this, I know that I am just like, a trailblazer or just an individual that is holding the vision for generations to come. So when I know that, it will be easier for me to connect with others. It will be easier because I know that what we are doing is not for this time. It's for 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 30 years' time, and 100 years' time. So with this, I feel collaboration will be easier. So when I'm looking at someone who is producing earrings or someone who is making bags, I'm not going to see them as competitors. I'm going to see them as, partners, and we'll be able to find solution to what is happening. And with that, I'm going to give an example. When I was in school, and for the first time, they asked us to make a presentation. And my presentation, I wrote like 5 fashion designers in Nigeria. And my lecturer said, no, he didn't know them and he didn't want me to use them. He wanted me to use the regular Chanel, Saint Laurent, and all those things. But I stood my ground and said, these people are Nigerian fashion designers, and I was the only Nigerian in the class, that I would love them to hear from them, to just learn about them. So unwillingly, or he had to agree. But now everybody, is coming to Nigeria. So I would like to say that in your space, stand your ground, be consistent with it, work with others, create platforms. It is difficult, it is tedious. I think it was the one mentioning it about leadership. So for us to do the vision that you have in your mind is going to take a lot. But at the end of the day, you will not be the only one that will benefit. Everyone in Nigeria, everyone in Africa will benefit from it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, because that's actually why Harvard, I'm sure everybody has heard of Harvard, and Harvard did a study on the